Welcome to 2025. Last year, the halo effect started dropping off singles in anticipation of their brand new album, March of the Unheard. And I gotta tell you, I've been like a kid waiting for Christmas. Well, the album has finally dropped. Did it live up to my expectations? Find out next. Welcome, metal enthusiasts, to another episode of The Metal Dude Abides. Tonight, we're going to take an in-depth look at the brand new The Halo Effect album, March of the Unheard. Now, if you've never heard of The Halo Effect, they are a Swedish supergroup that specializes in Gothenburg-style melodic death metal. Fun fact, every member of this band used to be in the band In Flames, making this kind of a retirement home for ex-In Flames members. One of the members of this band has been someone I've been following very closely lately. Lead singer Michael Stahn has been a very busy boy lately. Back in 2024, he put out an album with his main band, Dark Tranquility, that was very good. And he also put an album with his side band, Cemetery Skyline. So this will make 3 albums in like a 12-month span. Not to mention singles and everything else going on. Very prolific. Now, as for this band, this is their sophomore album. They came out back in 2022 with their debut album, Days of the Lost. So let's see if... And Days of the Lost was a very good album. So let's see if this album lives up to their debut. After weeks and weeks of waiting for this album, there was a lot of pressure on the opening track. And the first track on this album is a song called Conspire to Deceive. And it delivered. This song, I knew the minute the needle hit the vinyl on this one that my wait was going to be well worth it. The first track is fast, it's heavy, it's got great drums. This is exactly what I was hoping to hear and exactly what they delivered on. Whenever you start an album, I'm a big believer in coming out of the gates blazing fast, and here the Halo Effect does that. Conspire to Deceive is a great opening track of what's promising to be a very good album. Holy crap, it's kind of hard to believe, but after that opening fast track, this album just got faster. And the guitars really start to become the stars of the show. They have some of the best melodies going, and they really switch between being very catchy and also being very heavy. And the funny thing about it is as they're shifting around from these catchy hookies to these crunchy heavies, the whole time it feels like the song is just accelerating. So that at the end of the song, you feel like you're going much faster than you were at the beginning. It's really quite a cool trick that they do. I really dig this song. Detonate was the very first single that they released on this album, and what a great choice. In my humble opinion, so far, this is absolutely the best song on the album, and it's going to end up being one of the top songs throughout. Detonate is one you have to go listen to. Our Channel to the Darkness is the third track on this album. And this is the first curveball because it starts off with this very beautiful, melodic, acoustic type of intro. And all of a sudden you think, oh, wait a minute. We're finally, after those first 2 scorchers, we're going to try to settle down here a little bit. But right after that intro, boom, they kick in with yet another fast song. And again, really give that illusion of this song getting faster and faster as it goes. I'm telling you, these first three songs really all fit together. They're all fast. They mix it up again, a lot of catchiness, this acoustic intro, so it doesn't sound like the same song, but they really put each song in to maximize the aggressiveness and the speed at the beginning of this album. What a start so far. The Halo Effect is 3 for 3. The next song on the album is called Cruel Perception, and it was also one of the lead singles. The Halo Effect put out 3 singles prior to this album. I believe this was the last one that they put out. And I got to be honest with you, as a standalone single, I thought it lagged behind the other 2. But it's so cool how in an album, if you set up your songs correctly, you can really bring them to life. And here is a good example of that. As a standalone song, it's good, no issues. But here, after 3 blazing songs in a row, this kind of mid-tempo fits in perfectly. And I found myself liking this song a lot more on the album than I did when I heard it a few weeks back. That is the artistry of putting together the right sequence of an album. The Halo Effect does this very well right here. And so this song really improves and makes this now 4 for 4. This is an unbelievable start. I was, as much as I anticipated this album, you never know until you start listening to it whether you're going to like it or not. I am totally impressed with this. Not a misstep yet. Let's see if they can keep it going. The 5th track is a song called What We Become. And there's a subtle shift at this point in the album. Up to this point, we've been just been put through the paces at a blistering pace. Now, they take it down a notch and have this kind of heavier, groovier, infectious riff. Again, we kind of go back between these beautiful melodies, these kind of crunchy riffs. This is the latter. Little heavier, little grittier. And Michael Stann's voice corresponds with this shift as it becomes, that slower pace allows it to, just grab a little bit more. It's a little more growly, a little more sinister. Really like this song to the point where I think so far Detonate is my favorite song, but this is probably my second favorite song so far on the album. Probably considered a bit of a deep track because it's not one of the big hits. Wasn't released as a single, wasn't in the first 4 songs. But man, this song, What We Become, I think it's going to be one of those songs that continues to grow and grow and become one of my all-time favorites. The 6th song, The Curse of Silence, is a 2-minute intro to the title track. And all its purpose is to get you revved up. It's, again, back to what I was saying. They love to, do this trick where they're just pick up the pace just slightly throughout the album. So by the time you hit the title track, you are fired up. Now I'll say, it's a cool little number. Don't have any problems with it. Probably unnecessary. I don't need this little 2-minute intro, but a nice little intro into what I think is going to be the best track on the entire album never hurts. So again, nice little 2-minute intro, but let's get into the main course because this next song is an absolute killer. Ah, yes, the title track. As I've been telling you this whole video, I have been eagerly anticipating the arrival of this album, and one of the main reasons is this song right here. March of the Unheard was one of the singles that the Halo Effect put out to tease this album coming out. And man, the first time I heard it, I couldn't believe it. I just fell in love. This song is absolutely epic. It has a beautiful riff in this. And right now, early candidate for Song of the Year. I know. We're only 2 weeks in. There's a whole year ahead of us. I don't want to get too excited here, but right now, not only is March of the Unheard an early contender for Album of the Year because they have hit banger after banger after banger, but this song right here, best song I've heard all year. So if you haven't heard March of the Unheard, the single, and if you want to get a little hyped up for it, you can play the intro for it as well. This is what got me into this album. This is an early candidate for Song of the Year. I always feel like it's very tough for a band to pick a song in this slot right here. I can't say enough about the title track, March of the Unheard. Such a fantastic song. So as the band puts things together here, what do you put in after it? This is always a very tricky thing to do when you know you've put out one of the best songs of the year. So what does the halo effect do here? Well, they throw us another curveball. All of a sudden, this song, Forever Astray, comes out blazing. So I'm like, okay, good choice. They've come out with a big, heavy number. But here's where the curveball comes in. Right in the middle of it, Michael Stanton goes to his clean vocals. Like it's like it throws you at first. It's like at this point, we've had 7 songs, all of it in the growls, all of it dirty vocals. So you're thinking, okay, it's kind of his trademark as well. So he's going to do the whole album dirty. Now here comes a heavy song where you're expecting, well, for sure he's going to stay in that mode. This time, boom, breaks out the clean vocals. And it's beautiful. It's wonderful. So, again, after you've just put out one of the best songs on the album, hard to follow that up. So you throw the fans a curveball and put in the clean vocals. An interesting and excellent choice. I was laughing as I was thinking about this because all through December I was hearing about Opeth, their return to the growls. Here, flip that on its head, Michael Stan's returns to his clean vocals. Pretty cool stuff. And if you like his clean vocals, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, he put out an album with Cemetery Skyline, almost all clean vocals. If you like these vocals, check out that album, Nordic Gothic. The 9th song on the album is called Between Directions, and it has a very cool string instrument intro. Now, I gotta be honest, I'm not an expert on stringed instruments, but I think it's a cello. You can correct me in the comments below. Again, never played orchestra, so I'm not sure about all this. But it also has some really cool... I'm not a huge synths fan, but they have just a little bit, throughout this album, there's just been a sprinkle here, a sprinkle there, some synthesizers that add and enhance, but don't take over the songs. Really like that. So again, they just keep changing it up, and they keep changing it up beautifully. Well done again. And I will say this song right now is my favorite vocal performance on the entire album by Michael Stan. There's a point where he says there's no direction for me, and he just hits the growl at the end of it. So he's doing the transition from clean vocals to dirty vocals. That growl comes in. The intensity is there. I love this song. I love the vocals on this. Are you starting to catch on to the fact that I might be a little bit of a fan of Michael Stan singing? This is, to me, his best performance. It has the mixture of clean vocals, growls. He blends them really well to this. I love this song. And again, it's placed in the album perfectly because now, Again, we've moved away a little bit from the faster to, again, that more intense, that where he can really grab a hold of it and run. So another really great song, Between Directions. We're already at the 10th song, and everything has been great. So I always feel like I have to point out my favorite songs on an album and my least favorite songs on the album. So here it goes. My least favorite song, track 10, A Death That Becomes Us. Let me just say right off the bat, this is probably my least favorite song. This is the one song where I think the synths are a little bit distracting, but even though this is my least favorite song, it is still a very good song. It's just the first song that's just not spectacular, right? We've had every time you think, okay, they're gonna, run out of ideas, boom, they come out with another great song that's a little bit different. This one is just kind of a run of the mill song, good song, but nothing to write home about. They do something kind of cool on here, though. They begin the song with like a little guitar riff, and then when the song's over, they kind of break back into that riff and fade out with it. Nice touch on that as well. Um, Again, not probably my least favorite song on here, but I will say this album is what I would consider a perfect album, in that every song on here is at least good to excellent. Now, in order to do that, they still got a couple more songs before we can make that final determination. After the 10th song, I really kind of felt like, okay, they're kind of running out of steam a little bit. That 10th song was good, but nothing to write home about. And then out of the blue comes this song, The Burning Point. I love this song. It is so heavy. It is so catchy. And again, placed perfectly in the album because we just had the ever so slightest lull in the album, right? The first song where I'm like, all right, that's pretty good, but boom, they just hit you with one of the heaviest songs on the album. It is so good. Probably my favorite deep track on the album. I don't think it's, up there quite with Detonate, quite with the title track, but this probably could be my third favorite song on the album. I don't know. I'm starting to lose track now. All of these songs are so very, very good. And at the 11th track, usually when I saw the track listing and I saw 12 tracks right off the bat, I'm like, ooh, there's no way they're going to keep this up for 12 songs. Then I realized there was 3 bonus tracks. So there's 15 songs on this bad boy. And I thought, no way am I going to. At one point, this thing's going to drop off a cliff. Nope. This song, The Burning Point, rocks. The 12th and final track on the bass album is a song called Coda. Coda takes us out in a very melodic, light, acoustic, strings, the whole works. Very epic ending to what has been an absolute banger of an album. I really like the way they do this riff in an acoustic and stringed instrument accompaniment, because I really feel like sometimes in the right setting, acoustic and accompanying strings are kind of like the equivalent of a black and white photo. Black and white photos aren't always appropriate, but they can be the perfect way to bring out the complexities, bring out the intricacies. I really like black and white photography when you photograph people, because it really brings out so much more of the person than in color. And this is kind of the same way. A lot of times, you get into these albums that are fast and they've got all these great complexities, but the electric guitar kind of smooths that over. A nice acoustic ending. Like I said, it brings out those subtle intricacies that maybe you didn't notice before. Really I love the way they end this album. Absolutely. Done deal. Perfect album. The beauty and the majesty and the creativity around the way that they did put these songs into this order, the way there was so many curveballs and catches. This is not just a great album. It is a brilliant album. The guys really knocked it out of the park. But before you think this is it, there are 3 bonus tracks, singles that the band puts out just a little bit before here that they included in this album. Let me briefly talk about those 3 before I give you my final thoughts. Let's go through the 3 bonus tracks. The first one is a song called Become Surrender. Ooh, that riff is fantastic. This is like, if there's one song on the album that you want to throw into the Headbanger Challenge, this is it. You will bang your head to this one. Path of Fierce Resistance is another fast, heavy, aggressive song. Like, sometimes when bands put out bonus tracks, they're like, all right, yeah, these are pretty good. These are 2 of the best songs on the entire album. These would probably both make my top 5 or 6 songs. Fantastic. Really like the lyrics of this song, Path of Fierce Resistance. If you have a chance, take a listen and really put an ear to these lyrics. Really cool song. And then the last one is called The Defiant One. It doesn't live up to these other 2 bonus tracks, but it is also very good. Holy cow. This band just put, I'm just amazed. Let's go back to the Michael Stan situation. He put out an album with Dark Tranquillity. He put out an album with Cemetery Skyline. He puts out an album here with 15 songs in it. And I'm going to tell you, it's harder than you think. When you put an album together with 15 songs, to then walk away with a perfect album. Every song on here is good. Every song on here is well placed. Every song on here has such a purpose and is put together in such a smart way. I'm just blown away with this album. This is, I know it's ridiculous. We're 2 weeks into the year. This is the best album of the year. And when I was a little kid, we used to play this game called King of the Hill. And basically, you'd get on a little pile of dirt or whatever, and some kid would say, I'm King of the Hill. And then everybody came in to try to knock you off. We probably don't let kids do that kind of stuff nowadays. Here it is, King of the Hill, The Halo Effect, March of the Unheard. Come on, you've got a whole 350 days left in the year to come knock them off. But I'm telling you, this is a strong one. Right off the bat, they're going to be a contender. And, sometimes, over the course of the year, someone might do it, but you never know. You might be looking right here, 2 weeks into the year, at the album of the year. It's going to be a good one. If this is any indication, 2025 is going to be awesome. What a special album. I cannot tell you. I had high expectations for this album. Blown away. Far exceeded my expectations. I really thought, okay, there's going to be, 4 or 5 songs on here I like. Truthfully, like all 15 of them. And that's rare for me. I really am a very picky metalhead. Usually I find 3 or 4 songs on an album I think it's great. Rarely do I see this consistency across the entire album. Congratulations to the Halo Effect. What a brilliant performance. And that's our episode. So if you want to catch further content on this channel, if you want to see throughout the next 12 months if anybody can knock the Halo Effect off that mountain, you got to tune back in, because we're going to be keeping track. There's some new releases coming out in February and March. We got new Dream Theater. We're going to see what Phil Anselmo is going to do with his new project, Scour. We have, I'm telling you, talking about Sweden again, we're going back to that melodic death metal, Arch Enemy really has some singles that also have me a little bit eagerly anticipating their new album. And of course, if you were listening last week, you know I am a huge Sabotage fan, and rumor is out that Sabotage is putting out a new album. Ooh, I'm just telling you right now, I think 2025 is going to be special, and you want to spend it talking metal on the Metal Dude Abide. So this is the time. Make a New Year's resolution, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, give it a thumbs up. Make sure that the algorithm is letting you know when we have new content out. And we plan to have new content out every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Denver time. In the meantime, this is the Metal Dude signing off. Take care.